ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh, you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh, you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told ya I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
Hello.
What up, Marie? I love that little jam, girl. I'll be in the back. They don't see me. But I mean, what up, Savannah? Man, it's your boy, Julius Campbell with Marie Jones, Ink to Ink, Incarceration to Incorporation. As always, on Fridays, we are delighted to be in your homes. We are delighted to be on your airwaves. Why? Because we love to provide a platform for returning citizens to share their stories. Before we even get crunk up, I want to give a shout out. Marie, who do we give shouts out for allowing us to do what we do?
To Mr. Julius Hall, I'd like to thank you for giving us this platform to tell our stories and for us to be comfortable telling our stories. Also to AB, who came up with Incarceration to Incorporate. Sorry, AB, who came up with Incarceration to Incorporate, a wonderful also man. So anyway, Mr. Campbell, take it away when you tell how we do this recidivism thing and all this. Go ahead and say what you got to say.
Well, what she's saying so eloquently is OAA Savannah, Offender Alumni Association. And what we do is we like to connect the dots. So many people think that when returning citizens come home that they're going to automatically go right back. But we kill that false narrative by sharing our stories, because there are so many positive, powerful stories that are out there, stories of success. What type of success? Well, we have organizational success, we have relational success, occupational success. There are so many different successful stories that we want to get out there so that we can change the narrative. And at OAA, where we provide a safe space for returning citizens, we do three things. And what are those three things that we do, Marie?
We empower, encourage, and educate one another, because no one person can do it alone. I like us coming together, sharing our stories, because you can draw off Julia's story, you can draw off my story, and that's the good thing about OAA Savannah. We are very positive. OAA Alabama is about to be on here shortly, and OAA Atlanta is about to be on here. We're about to share our story. That's the connecting the dots. If I don't know something, we can take and refer you to someone who may know some jobs. We give resources like that. That's connecting the dots. If you have your children who need help, we have Miss Angela. She is with TIP organization. That's connecting the dots. So that's what Miko is talking about when he say we connect the dots. One person, if that's the encouraging part, that's the empowering part, connecting the dots.
Oh, I love it when you say that. When we give shouts out to these other organizations, these grassroots organizations that's in the trenches, boots on the ground, doing the things that a lot of grass top organizations are not able to do. And so what we love, as we has also just been sharing, is every other Wednesday, what we do is we provide a safe space at 8011 Waters Avenue. That's 8011 Waters Avenue. That's Deliverance Prayer Tower. Shouts out to the pastors and the leaders for giving us that space to be able to help, that space to be able to encourage, that space to be able to, I love the word you just said, empower. That's what we love to do. And so tonight, what we want to do as we get ready to join us with our guests from Alabama and Atlanta, I just want to share briefly, Marie, what I was able to do last night. I was given a wonderful opportunity by GBPI. That is the Georgia Budget Policy Institute. What they did was they grassroots organizations a platform, an opportunity to share and to represent who they are and what they are doing. And it was a powerful moment last night for all those of us that were on the panel to share our stories. And I believe that that is going to open more doors for us to be able to help our returning citizens. Whether you were locked up 20 years ago or 20 days ago, it is our desire to help you to connect those dots by providing employment opportunities, by providing housing resources, by providing food and clothing, and especially employment. So as we often get an opportunity, we are going to bring these resources before. So, Marie, I want you just a little bit before we get ready to break in our leaders. I want you to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing throughout the course of this week when it comes to OAA and also when it comes to returning citizens. I know I see you on the Facebook, sharing, giving shouts out. So just tell us a little bit about what has been going on with you.
Well, with OAA, we just had a meeting last week, Wednesday, OAA, and we had Mr. What's his name? Sanchez. He came out. He has a logistic company. He came out, and I can put his phone number up to give information about how to get a job. And I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. He also provides transportation to and from work, and he does not pay minimum wage. He pay above minimum wage for you because he knows that minimum wage, if he knows that, it's really expensive to live now in today's society. So he knows that minimum wage is not good enough. So I just want you all to know that OAA Savannah Offender Alumni Association, we really try our best to do what we can to help. We also provide a meal for you all. And if you come, you can meet different. What's her name? Angela was there. I love Angela because Angela she really provides and help the babies, our children. And so if you need like counselors, she also have counselors that can come inside of the home to help. So I think that's good. TIP organization. That's a grassroots, and she hit the ground running. And Angela is for the kids. So I really, really like that. And Mr. Isaac was there. Isaac took and shared his story. He's with what meeting they had just the other day, Miko? The meeting that they had for the young boys. What's the name of that? Huh?
Boys Chat. Boys Chat.
Yes. And guess what? I hear a lot of young men say this to me, Miss Marie, I can't talk to my mama. My mama don't want to hear what I have to say. But let me tell you something, I'm guilty to this. We as parents, we have to take and listen to our children. Not saying you have to abide by what they're saying, but hear them. Because in hearing them, you can help them. You can save them. So is that Mimi? No, that's Dina. Hey, Dina.
Hey, everybody in Savannah. Let me see if Mimi's coming on.
Okay, that is Dina, OAA Alabama, everyone. She introduced me and Julius to OAA, and that's how OAA Savannah got started with Dina, OAA Alabama.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you guys are doing a fabulous job, right?
Thank you, Dina.
Yes, you guys are doing an excellent job up there. And what it's all about really is taking ownership of our communities. But with that ownership comes this issue. With these issues, we must be a solution.
Exactly.
And so the thing is, we need to get away from the headlines and the photo ops, right? And really become solutions. You know what I'm saying? If indeed we are approaching this work as a mission and from a heart space, right? We say we care about our communities, we care about the people in them. What is it that's plaguing our communities? And if it's plaguing our communities, then it's plaguing people, right?
Right.
And we just can't put a Band-Aid on a lot of the issues that we're facing. So I think the number one issue now in the nation is gun violence and youth violence.
Exactly.
Which we know that's just a of the problem. It's a symptom. So I'm a yield there. and let you guys go ahead. And I'm just gonna chime in. I think Mimi is gonna come in from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I love what you guys are doing.
Thank
All
you.
things relevant.
All things relevant. I love Mr. Julius Hall for giving us this platform to speak on things. And you know what, Dean, I like what you were speaking on. You were saying about the gangs, the gun violence. And as I said before, Julius and we had a visual and verbal here in Savannah, and we had the kids from 10 to 7. Well, they were 13 to 17. But I always remember Miss Emily when she said how you see ages 10 to 12 in the ICU unit from gunshots. So Dina, how do you think that we can come together as a community to stop this? How do we stop gun and gang violence with our youth? Do you think that it will ever end?
Yes, first of all, we have to see how it began, and work the problem backwards, right? How did it begin? And it has perpetuated. I think that what happened then, when persons gathered around a cause, a lot of clergy and the religious communities was involved in social justice issues and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at it, it started with a gathering of individuals. Those individuals had like minds. They were on the same page. They had identified this as a problem, and they were approaching it with a collective thought process for the solution. And they wasn't gambling and fighting over who's going to do it, whose name going to have a stamp on it. It was our problem, right? And so I think what we need to do is be intentional. And so we understand that for those that are doing the work from the community level and grassroots, financially, it's not feasible. There's not a capacity to do it at the rate and in regards to the persons that are doing it, what they're trying to do to survive, the enormity of the issue and the problem. But I think what we have to do is creatively and innovatively, which it's not, because there's nothing new up under the sun, but we need to create gatherings. We need to have real town halls, real round tables. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how when you get the community out, start with, we're going to target 20 people, right? And just to get them out there centered around a conversation about this. That 20, the next time we meet, need to bring somebody else. And we need to do this every week, until we have amassed an enormous amount of people that are trying to get to a community solution. That's just me. Because people gather, well, we're going to put a moonwalk, we're going to have bouncy houses, we're going to barbecue. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have some photo shoot. We're going to be on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're going to go live. I mean, but are you guys down here in City Hall when they talking about how they want to buy 95 new police cars and have 95 new officers?
That's right.
I mean, what we going to do with that?
Let me ask you a question real quick, because I won't be on with you ladies all night, but I definitely want to ask this question to not only to Dina, but also Marie. I would love for you to chime into this as well. Recently, I just learned a new term, and that word is grass tops. You often hear people talk about grassroots. Grassroots are those small organizations that are community bound, that are in the trenches, that have boots on the ground, and they are tangibly understanding what's going on in our neighborhood. Grass tops are those huge organizations that get the funding, that get the grants. And what I want to ask is, how can we bridge the gap between those grassroots and grass top organizations in order to be more effective in reaching both our youth, young system impacted, and our returning citizens? Can you answer that for me?
Wow. Yes,
I'm gonna let Marie take a stab at it.
Dina, can I tell you something? I can only speak for the city of Savannah, Julius, and I feel that, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but the city hall, all of them, they know what is taking place and what is going on in the city, right? So why don't they take and help? This is not a Julius and Marie and Dina problem. This is our problem. And so I just feel that it should be, like you said, Dina, if we take and put on something every week, because it takes money, Julius. It takes, maybe I'm not answering the question right, but I feel like it takes money. If you give and I give and Dina give and this one give, it takes money to get the word out. I don't know who we have to, I don't know who we have to get in touch with for things to get better, but it needs to get better. Because in the trenches, that's what we are. We're in the trenches, and I don't know about the word that you just said, Miko. What is that word you just used?
Grass tops. Grass tops organizations, and I want Dina to be able to speak to this too, but we got to be mindful. We're getting ready to go commercial, so Marie, watch that. That we probably can do that. Let Dina speak when we come back. But grass tops are those organizations like United Way or NAACP or those big name organizations. That's
I want to speak on the grass top. Then now that I have the understanding what you're saying, the United Way, Dina, wants to put OAA Savannah in their database. But my director, he's so busy, and he been told me to take, and let me say this, he been told me to get the meeting, because I had a director named she was at a meeting and I was there. She said she want to put OAA Savannah in the on the day where we can take and start getting funding, so that's my fault right there, Miko. So United Way wanted to be on their database. They did.
Great. But just remember, as we get ready to go to this commercial, Dina, that's the question I want you to be ready for. How do we bridge the gap between grass top organizations and grassroots organizations in order to be more effective in reaching our young system impacted kids and our returning citizens? I know that you have the answer, that you can be creative, because OAA Alabama is doing that. And so just be ready as we get ready to go to this commercial. Thank those of you.
Run that question back to me again, Julius.
How can we bridge the gap between grassroots and grass top organizations in order to be more effective in reaching our returning citizens, adults, and our youth returning citizens?
All right. Got it.
We have just a moment or two right before we go before break. Thank you for coming and watching us. Those of you that are here with us as we get ready to do this station break, I appreciate every Friday you coming in and tuning in to us at Ain't to Ain't along with OAA Savannah.
Hey, Dina. I can't hear you, Dina.
Julius gone?
He had to step off and he left. So Go ahead. You go ahead and you answer the question how we do the grass top with the grassroots and how can we bring that together for returning citizens and the system impact of the youth, Dina.
Marie, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can't see you. Is that something I'm doing, or is this just the way it is?
No, that must be something you're doing because I know your screen is black.
My screen is black.
Yeah, I can't see you. I could have seen, but I can't see you now.
Okay, you couldn't see me.
I can see you now. Well, this is Marie coming to your hearing, and Dina's having a little technical difficulties. So I think what Dina was talking, what Julius asked about the grass top or and the us in the trenches. I feel that we all it's just about knowing each other. We have to come together at a board. Let's come to the table and let's put it together to see how we can save our youth. That's my answer. I know Dina will have a breakdown of everything. Julius, he had to step away, so please forgive. But we're coming on tonight. Just Dina's trying to come back on.
Yes, I'm so sorry, everybody. Do excuse me. Do excuse me. Just trying to get somewhere where I can be stationary and not moving around and everything. So to answer his question is how is it that we bridge the gap between grassroots and grass top organizations?
Right.
First and foremost, to explain what he explained grassroots. Grass top are those larger organizations that have the mission and that have an objective and a scope of work that they're going to be doing centered around a said thing. In this regard, it's about reentry. And so organizations that's been dealing with formerly justice impacted individuals, whether they're youth or adults, that's been doing it over and over a period of time, that's probably been getting funding, and they're always being funded, and they've been around for a while. Those are those larger organizations, those grass top organizations are what they're calling it. And so it's hard for persons that's on the community level, right there in the community, to get monies because they're starting out from a passion in their heart. They may not have the skill sets to get the grants written, may not even know that they can get grants. You know what I mean? It's just a whole lot that goes with that, but yet they're still doing the work. And they're doing it at a rate that surprises a lot of people, especially when they do not have the financial resources in order to effectively help them and assist them in doing the work, because in their work they are effective, and so they can do even the more if they were able to get the proper funding for it. To bridge that, I think you start building relationships with those individuals or those individual agency heads, the executives. How is it that, and have a candid conversation that we've been doing this? How is it that we can partner with you all to do this work? How can we be into a grant? And this is after you've built that relationship. Or
so I say coming to the table.
And if we're writing a grant, can we add you to it for you to do this said component of it? Or can you be the lead agency on this grant? We were just able to work with a phenomenal group of individuals when we first got to Atlanta that was strictly about getting the work done and about the people and not about the monies, right? They supported us in becoming the lead agency in the applications of some funding, which allowed us to partner with individuals that had organizations that were directly impacted themselves that had been struggling with funds. And so we were able to sort of kind of lift persons as we were climbing and build a conglomerate in order to get the work done. And in a 4-year period, you see the effect of it, right? Not just the awareness that's being raised, but the lives that's being impacted. And the thing about us, our success isn't in the number. It's not that we're successful because we served 150 people this year. What does serve mean? Serve means someone came in your door, signed in for a class, or you sent them out to a resource or whatever the case is, and it was 150 people. But is the person's being successful? Because our success is predicated on the individual success. Yes, he stayed out of jail for 3 years, but the man is still homeless without a job.
Right.
That's not success for us. Success is the individual being able to move on with his life. So it's about collaborating, but actually building relationships in order to create a collaborative effort. But what we find in this work is that it's very competitive, and then people have this thing about an ownership stance, and so it's been very tough over the last 8.5 years in order to get the work done at the rate that we've been able to get it done with grace and favor. So I lean into that. Do you have any questions in the chat from somebody that's listening?
Like Dina, but I want to ask a question. Why does it take so long for a grass top organization to help a grassroots organization? Why do you think if you see, I'm quite sure that they see what's going on in the city, right? And I'm a grassroots organization. Why would it take them so long to reach out to help? Can you answer that?
Well, it's not something that they're trying to do. This now is becoming a topic of conversation, right? Everything starts with a thought, right? Then maybe you put some kind of action steps to the thought to try to create some kind of movement. And then if it starts picking up momentum, because of the gun violence that have taken place, the awareness of the need for people to join together from the service perspective. How do we create a service structure that will create wraparound services? So that is what brought the idea into play about true collaborations with grassroots and grass top organizations. Now, does grassroots get the financial backing that they need as grass tops? No. But because they have operated so long in a deficit financially, they're just grateful to get whatever they can so that they can continue to work. And I think as we continue to work and continue to build and to continue to do our part with those that we are partnering with from the grass top communities, then eventually we should get some kind of cohesiveness and some kind of momentum in that arena, and then it no longer would be competitive as it has been.
So how long do you think that would take?
Well, we've been in Atlanta 4 years, and we've been in Alabama 9 years in March, and we just got funding last year. We just got funding last year. So when you guys opened up Savannah, we didn't have any funding.
You did not?
No, we didn't have any funding. Our funding stream was in Atlanta. Alabama just got funding stream last year, and it was for our youth programming. Our adult programming doesn't have any funding. Right. So, and our community engagement has had some sporadic. So we pretty much have between our donors, just from regular people that we're so grateful for. UAB has been, which is a university, has been a huge help with just allowing us to assist in some spaces and being able to get small amounts of money to sort of kind of help with some things when they're doing research and stuff like that on the same population that we deal with. Then because they do not want to utilize us for free, they write up, something contractual. And so we're able to use that in a general fund to do certain things that we need just for operational costs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so anything else, we sort of kind of just been patching up out of our pockets. And like I said, our faithful volunteers and our faithful contributors, whether that's $50 or $150 a month, but constantly encouraging people to donate to it because we are truly doing what we say we're doing.
You know what, Dina? Mm-hmm. How long have we been? Oh my God, Dina.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. How long have I been a part of OAA? At 2 years?
Yeah, we came up. Yeah, actually, Ron and I was there. I want to say in January, like the end of January, but we may have came up in February. I got the pictures in my phone to prove it.
Yeah.
And so, and you guys kicked off in April. So I think we may have started the conversation 2 years ago. Then we came up and visited. And you guys, got your marching orders. I mean, because you already had it in your spirit and in your heart. And
that's right.
2 months, you all was gone, and you've been rolling ever since and doing some fabulous stuff up there. And the thing is, who's doing family engagement? Who's doing youth work? Who's doing adult work? What are the needs that's in our community? Jobs, housing, resources. And COVID really hadn't helped it. In the defense of other people. COVID, it really hasn't helped any.
So Mimi is not gonna. Is Mimi gonna be able to join us tonight? Dina has went off again, you guys. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties that we are having tonight, but I just like the topic, the grass top and the grassroots, and how we can meet in the middle so that we can be able to help our community. That's what it's all about. Still helping our community, helping those that need the resources, especially returning citizens. When you come home from prison or it's not easy for a lot of people when they need jobs and help. So I just would like the grass top communities to come to the grassroots, which is OAA Savannah, and help, because we are here to encourage and empower and educate our people and to help them. And guess what? Recidivism is a word that we don't want. We don't want to return to prison. We do not want to return to prison. A lot of people that are in prison are getting out doing miraculous things like Mr. I am so impressed with Mr. Hall. I really am impressed with Mr. Julius Hall. I just want to give a shout out to him tonight. This is his production, and being that he was incarcerated. He was incarcerated once upon a time, and I love what he said. He said, Marie, a debt paid is no longer a debt. So you cannot keep.
They told me that you got. Okay. Sorry, They keep putting me backstage, Marie. Somebody put me backstage.
Okay, I'm sorry because I don't have control of that, Dina.
Okay.
So it's just a mishap. So I'm sorry, but I want you to continue. I was just saying, Dina, that I want the grass top community to take and get to the grassroots community, which is OAA Savannah, where we can meet in the middle and have a common ground, because it's still about helping our community. And I was giving a shout out to Mr. Julius Hall, which was he was incarcerated, and I love what he always says. He said debt paid is no longer a debt, and I'm just so impressed with him because now he have a production. I think this is his production company. He have a safe space for allowing us to come on and to speak our heart, to speak our mind, and there's no judgment. So I love that, and I was just
I could hear you. I just wasn't on myself.
Okay, I do apologize.
He's done a fabulous job, and I think the vast majority of individuals do not know that people do leave their past behind and and actually become productive and contributing members of society. And I think the more we're talking about it, so I commend you guys for your bravery, because it takes a brave person to keep your stuff out there. When you, like he said, we no longer have a debt. It's been paid, right? And so I think we just keep and sometimes, because we are passionate about what we're doing, oftentimes people take that passion as an aggression. But it's really not. It's just you feel so strongly about what it is that we're doing and what has to be done. The need is so great. Yeah.
Then you know what? I want to commend you because, like, when I first met you, you blew my mind when you said the judge gave you 114 years. I said, how do one man judge a person and give you 114 years? Not a violent crime, but 114 years. And you hit the ground running, Dina. I think you are so phenomenal in the way you just do things and the way you speak. You and Julius Campbell, y'all two is something else to me, but I really, really like to commend you, for the work that you do, because you're in the trenches and you're not just in Alabama. Before you know, you'll be in Washington, D.C. somewhere.
Well, Marie, I appreciate your kind words. You do not give yourself enough credit.
Oh,
I wish you can listen to some of this stuff. I wish you can hear how impressive you are. Someone who was that called me, and it was one of the ladies that we ended up on the line with that next morning.
Mm-hmm.
That lady, she was on there talking, and I think it was my cousin. We call her she's part of the alien class, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's not a drugger. She's not a drinker. She's not a criminal. You know what I'm saying? She's none of the things. And I'm saying to myself, how did she get and see Marie on live? But you had said something profound that had touched her.
Oh, well,
right?
Thank you.
And so it speaks to the need to continue to elevate the voices of those that have been directly impacted, right?
Right.
Whether that's directly impacted by the criminal justice system. Oops, they don't put this out there enough. Directly impacted by poverty.
Yes.
All of that, So
yes.
we just have to keep doing what we're doing, because no one is meaningless. No one's experiences are meaningless. And I think because of the collective differences, it make life beautiful. And so, and being able to appreciate others' experiences that may be different than yours, that actually allows us to tap a little bit deeper into humanity and be okay with the fact that we're not alike. We've done and said and been in some places that may be undesirable, but there are some things that lead to that. And to speak to that, seeing a little girl on the porch the year before last, I want to say in 21, and I was driving up through these projects to get to my other office, and I noticed that she didn't have on any shoes. Then it was a way that she was on the porch, like she was confined to the porch, but she wasn't. But there wasn't anything vibrant about what she was. No kind of light about what she was. And then when I noticed her barefoot, right, it took me all the way back to dirt roads and chicken, just things that I imagined times of old was like for people.
Right.
And the separation and the struggle in the separation and the harshness of the separation and the economic status that the separation created. And that many people hadn't moved from that. But our expectation on them is different.
Right.
And so I reached out then to the Jewish Community Center. The community center, not for Jewish people. It was really built because of the divide. And that at the time, the Jewish people of Birmingham was treated like any other nationality that wasn't white. And so they built this to be a community space for individuals that couldn't access the YMCA, because they would be put, And so, but they have a beautiful program. I mean, they are doing so much great stuff there. Over the years of building it and building out as a school, it's just a whole bunch. It's an elderly space where they can come in and utilize their Olympic-sized pools. It's a whole lot. Camps, it's just great. So I reached out in order to see what would it take to get a child scholarshiped to access some of the things that they have made available.
I like that.
So you have to just continue to get up, suit up, and boot up. That's all I'm saying.
I like the suit up and boot up.
Every door. knock on every door, because all of them aren't locked.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
of them are locked. And so we just have to continue to knock on the door. What we must do is get as far away from the status quo of social media by continuing to perpetuate harm ourselves, the way we're always on there sending things viral that's negative, that's demeaning, that's heart-wrenching, to see other people suffering through.
That's right.
We need to talk about how is it that our city governments can create ordinances when they see these children showcasing and branding these guns, and we know that they're underage.
Exactly.
You know, how is it that you can create, when they say, well, that's going to cause mass incarceration? No, it's not going to cause mass incarceration, because what we've found is, as much as it's about the people and it's the people's voice, only one person speaks.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So how is it that we can get an ordinance, just like you got truancy officers and things of that nature, that because they already watch social media, and when you've identified 1 or 2 or 3 kids that you know that's 13, 14, and 15, then you need to knock on the door and say, now you do see Jacob right here, don't you?
So Dina, excuse me 1 minute. We have to go to commercial break, people, but we'll be right back. Right. Hello, welcome back to Incarceration to Incorporate. I am Marie coming to your hearing, and Dina is not on. I don't know what happened, but I know that we were talking about grassroots and grass tops and how I think that we should just meet in the middle. We were talking about our children, how we need to take in what we need to do to help. Oh, there go Dina.
I'm here.
And so how we need to help. And so I just think, Dina, now I want to ask you a question.
I need some men. Whatever the question is, I need some men.
Okay, I say it. Please say that. Say I need some men in Savannah. I'm talking about I need some men in Savannah who will help. And I know it's plenty men in Savannah that can help. So what you say, Dina? Go ahead.
So my thing is, where do you start?
Dina, you know what you said? I like what you said, that knock on the door. Knock on the door to me, we can get, like, you know how I do my talks in the morning time. I want, it's some positive men on my page that I know if they can inbox me or whatever, say, Marie, I am here to help. I will be so happy, because we have young boys and young women who need the support of our men. You know what I said the other day, Dina? I say a father or uncle is so necessary. It is so necessary to have a man in a child's presence. I say an active. Can I say this? An active parent, an active father, active man. He's being positive in his children. Like, that makes a difference, Dina.
It does.
It makes a difference. Now, what my kids may not do, let me say this. When my kids want to be rebellious, now they may not listen to me as fast as they would listen to their father. I'm just being honest. So ma'am.
Exercise. I just did an exercise with 7 boys in an alternative school the other day. I let them guide the class. And in their guidance of the class, unbeknown to them, I get to jiving around with them and everything. And I get to jiving around and everything with them. And they talk about who's the most important person in a household. All of them said the mom.
Wow.
Well,
Is it that's because that's all they have in the home is the mom?
you want to sit over here? You want to have a chat with us?
How everyone's doing?
Not yet.
Now, what you said, Dina?
So I got a I think he likes for me to do that. He said I move too much.
Okay, go ahead.
So and this is one of my guys, one of the mentees that I've been honored to have journeyed for a couple of years with, and a phenomenal guy. And so I say I need men. So I'm doing an exercise in school, and I have 7 boys in an alternative class. And so I allow them to sort of kind of guide the conversation, even though I know where I'm going with it. And I said, well, who's the most important person in a household, especially after one of them, 16, said that he has a child. Oh, wait a minute. So who's the most important person? Because we always talk about our black and brown boys, 13 to 24. We're always talking about single mothers and all this stuff. And so to introduce them to that dynamic and how do it come about. And so our thing is a household. Well, we do know that it's going to take a male and a female to have, and so whether they in the household or not. So let's just say a household is made up of a house without the dad, a house with the dad, a house with the dad and the mom, a house with the mom. Well, the thing is, we want to center it on the men because they're young men. And I said, we something else. How you gonna be? Yeah, I'm gonna take care of my baby and me. I said, you open it up. You just trying to get money. You're gonna want to get money after school to take care of yourself. And I said, well, you got a baby though. Well, yeah. I said, well, what if you run into a crazy lady like me with these dreadlocks? Because she already know, don't she? But because we separate, because we can't get along anymore. There's no communication. There's no understanding. It's out the window that we still have a child to raise together.
Right.
Now, one little boy out of nowhere screams out loud at 14 years old that he's just going to put himself on child support. I said, you going to do what? So now we got to have a lesson on how this system works when you're talking about child support.
Right.
We talk about how, because I'm going there with them. But then I asked, how many kids got the dad in the home and like him? One kid raised his hand. How many kids got the dad outside the home and don't like him? 3 of them off the bat raised their hand. How many kids got the dad in the home and outside the home and they like him? Well, 2 got the dad outside the home and they like him, right? But one of the ones that like the dad outside the home aren't on speaking terms right now. We ain't on speaking terms right now. Like, then he's the same one that's going to put himself on child support. Then the other that got the dad outside the home that does not like him either. So I said, well, there's one category that we did not put up there. What about the child that got the dad that he does not know?
Wow.
So now we start talking about the money factor when it comes down to child support. Well, the guy that got the dad in the home that likes his dad, I'm going to use him as a dad in the home with your child. How much a month do you think you would give to your children, your child?
Right.
He says, well, depending on how young the child is. Depending on how young the child is, well, I guess about $400, $500 a month. And he's in the house.
Okay.
Well, if the child is older, he said, like me, that's probably working. You see? So we're having this dialogue. Now, the other that doesn't have the dad in the house, one of them said $5,000 a month. He gonna give his child.
Wow, he got a good job.
Whatever it is, $5,000 a month. Tell me you're gonna give $60,000 to this child for whatever So, but they don't know this. It sounds good because we got to bring the reality to their level.
Right.
And understanding now that when you're paying child support, well, I already know she's gonna probably get her nails done and everything like that. I said, no. I said, let's do this. What does a child need to be okay? And we named off the housing, the this, the that, and everything, the gas to go to the doctor. If the child don't the child have to go to the doctor, oh, that means gas. So they don't know I'm going. But when we get finished, it lets me know the line of thinking that they have, and there's no male figures there to challenge what they're thinking.
Right.
But all of them said that the mothers were the most important person in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the household, meaning that if the dad is gone, it don't make no difference, as long as we got our mama here. But what is it when you become the dad?
Wow. I like that, Dina, because now from my thinking, can I say something?
Yeah,
From
sure.
my thinking, Dina, the mama is the most important in the home, right? But you ask them, as you say, but what about when you become the dad? So would it matter if they're in a child's life, long as the mother's there?
See, we got to get them to thinking, right? Because you're saying that you're going to love your child. So that means now that the child is here, how will you ensure that you're still in their life, even if you're not in the home?
I like
we
that.
have to have these conversations early, because
that's
what
right.
we know they're seeing. One little boy has a behavior issue. So I want to ask the male factor here.
Yes.
How is it that we find men that are willing to help us be impactful in the young men's lives that many of us ladies has to take the charge, not in the home, but now we are leading mentoring programs with little boys in it.
That's right.
And can't get a man to show up 1 hour a week, even if it's a phone call. How do we find you men to help us with this?
We create programs now to start mentoring men to be. I mean, the same way you're mentoring children, us men, we have really veered from the path. We got caught up in the old system of let the woman take care of us. We want to be players. We want to be cool and hip and hang with fellas. So we have lost our way. So now we brought back. Me myself, I have a mentor that's teaching me all over again how to be a man. And it might be sad to say, but it's a good thing, because I'm learning how to be a man again. And I'm doing my responsibilities. And it goes by the grace, only through the grace. But as steel sharpens steel, so men sharpen men. The same way it's going on with teaching these children, men going to have to be out again. Us black men, we're going to have to be out. To stand up and take our place and be the leaders that we're supposed to be again.
I love it.
It's sad to say. It's the truth.
It is. Can I tell you something, Dina? What he said, I like what he said. I said this, I think, about a couple of weeks ago on the show, and I asked a gentleman at where I work, and I was saying, why don't men step up and do what they're supposed to do? And you know what he said? He said the same thing that you said, sir. He told me, he said, sweetheart, he said, man, we just dropped the ball. He said, if there's no other way to put it, he said, we want to be in the street. We want to go be with this woman, that one. We want to do all kinds of things. We want to be cool. And we dropped the ball. And a lot of times they leave the responsibility to the mother. So I commend you, sir, of saying, and because what man gonna get on the air and say this? I think I commend you. I really, really do. And I think
it's the truth.
They got to pick the ball back up.
He picked the ball. Exactly.
We got to pick the ball back up, but we got to be taught how to pick the ball back up.
I love that.
I mean, it's sad to say, but in order for it to be done, it must be done.
Right.
And I'm just a visionary, right?
Yeah.
I see things. So I know that I'll never get to where I'm trying to go if I don't start.
Right.
Exactly, Dina.
So I don't need 10. I need to start.
Just start.
So my charge to the men that may be listening, the women that may be listening, that can tell the men, we need you guys to start.
That's right.
Because I do believe that the way the world itself was created, it was created in a way to multiply. You know what I mean? Because of how much we lose, the gain itself is always greater.
That's right.
It has shown itself. You know what I mean? And so, with that being said, because listening to him with a mentor, with someone that's helping, the thing is, how do you find the next person to mentor, to be the mentor to the child as you're mentoring him into manhood? See?
I like it.
You see
I
how
like
that
it.
starts? Yeah, because it started with Bob and Bill, man.
That's right. That's right.
But it has to start, and what we are failing to do is start. You see what
I
I'm saying?
like that, Dina.
Yeah,
Dina,
start.
Excuse me for cutting you off, Dina. We're like 4 minutes out, and the show is going to be over. But I want you, Dina. And what is your name, sir?
Charles.
Charles. I want you, Mr. Charles. I want you just to give. How would you encourage a young man or a man that is listening to the show? Can you speak to them and encourage them before we leave off the air?
I'm gonna encourage you by telling you the truth. Stop being afraid to ask for help. Stop being afraid to admit that you don't know what you're doing, and get somebody to show you. In order for us to get help, we got to ask for it. But one thing about it, the reward of it is going to be, once we get it, the only way we're going to keep it is by giving it away. That's how we spread. How it be from one man helping another man. You know, I have learned to stop walking by my brothers that I see down in the hole. Today, I'm in a position where I can jump down in the hole with them and help them up out. You know, let me show you how to get up out of this hole, because I have been shown. I have learned the way. Now let me show you. It can be done, but it's only going to be for those that want it. A lot of men need it, but it's only going to be for the ones that want it. You know,
I like that.
Yeah, and all
Dina,
the change, we have to change.
I love that. Thank you, Mr. Charles. Dina, China, you got 1 minute, Dina. What you got to say?
All I like to say is, I'm gonna keep getting up. I'm gonna keep tying my boots up. I'm gonna keep praying, hoping, and believing, in spite of what it looks like and what it feels like. I'm gonna keep knocking on doors. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep throwing the fishing rod out there, trying to reel them in.
That's right.
But we got to keep this conversation going. We
will.
The next step is to knock on, starting with the largest gatherings happen on Sunday throughout this country. We have over 280-some thousand churches in the United States. That's a lot of churches.
Dee, I love you so much, and thank you, Mr. Charles, and thank you, Mr. Julius Hall, and thank you, AB, and thank you, Julius Campbell. This is Marie coming to your hearing. I hope that you all enjoy the show tonight to get the encouragement, the empowerment that we need from one another. Now we are calling in the men and the women, but especially the men. How many will take the opportunity to help? Thank you, Dina. I love y'all. Good night.
Everybody. Y'all have a safe weekend.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
I like that.